Good morning. How are we doing today? Taking a load of manure out of the mule barn. We bring our mules in during the daytime and we let them stand. We don't feed them any hay, or we just give them a little treat of grain, maybe a cup of grain for each animal, except for the little guy. He gets grain because he's still growing and he's putting bone growth on. Bringing the mules in during the day, we have tie stalls and we need to haul manure. And it used to be that we used to wheelbarrow it out, and I've been looking for a little manure spreader that I could haul behind my side-by-side, and that's where this guy here comes in. It's a Pequea 25G. Whenever I got it, it was in pretty bad shape. We got a heck of a deal on it. We only paid $300 for this unit, and as you can tell from my videos, I've been trying to switch over to, if I have to do anything with the equipment on the farm, I try to use my side-by-side because it takes a lot less fuel to use it. And this here's a week's worth of manure. When we get done spreading it here, we're going to take a look and I'll show you what all we had to do to get this thing back operational. These little manure spreaders, they don't have any end gates in them. Considerably lessens the amount of manure you can put in your manure spreader if you don't have an end gate. So I just cut a piece of T1. This here's a piece of T111. Put a slot in it. Just throw that back here. We'll go out and spread this load of manure and take a look. This here's the controls. It has two controls. You can see here, this control here controls the beater. It comes down onto a sprocket, and then that controls our beaters. And then this control over here operates the apron chain. We push it down. You can see where this arm here comes down, and then it's on a cam. And as that cam lifts that arm, it works this ratchet system, which slowly works the apron chain back. In my opinion, it brings the apron chain back too quickly, but it is what it is, and that's how it's gonna have to be. Got this bad boy for 300 bucks, and we had to put a little work in it. Took about a day's worth of work and about $70 worth of steel in order to get it back operational. It's probably better than what it was new because we plated it a lot heavier than it was new. I still need to get it painted. We'll get that done here when the weather warms up. Let's get this off and we'll go from there. Let's have a look at it. Do is we'll shut the beaters off and then just run the apron chain until the box is cleaned out. See, we got it pretty well cleaned out. I have a little bit of manure left in here. Not a big deal. We'll just flip it out of there. What we had to do with this manure spreader, the sides was pretty well rusted out, and then the front was completely gone. And what I did is I went and I bought some plating for it. The plating cost me about 70 bucks or so, maybe 65, and then we plated that in, and we had to drill our holes for all our sprockets and different things. But what was really bad on this thing whenever I bought it, and manure really has a tendency to mess things up, if you know what I mean, if it's not cared for properly. This here sprocket that worked on the apron chain, this piece here was completely rusted off, and this here was all rusted out, so we replated that and built a new piece for on that apron chain. Our slats in our apron chain, they were all rusted off, so we had to cut the old slats out and then weld new ones in. Really wasn't a big issue, and that's pretty much what we had to do to this thing to get her back operational. And I have about approximately a day's worth of work in that, so you got to figure your time and then the cost. We have about $500 invested in this manure spreader, and I expect it to last a lifetime because we're going to take care of it. And you know, a new one costs about $3,450 for a new manure spreader like this. It works extremely well behind a side-by-side, and you know, we clean the manure out of the stalls and once a week, and you can see here it does a beautiful job of spreading. And you can see this field here, it really doesn't have a whole lot of plant growth on here. We seeded this back in last year, and I expect it to come on this year. I see a lot of plants starting to grow in here. Our fescue is growing, and we have a lot of clover, a lot of fescue coming in here. I think there's some orchard grass planted and different things, but if you look out across there, you can see all the little tips of the fescue growing, and it's going to turn out to be a pretty decent field. 2 years ago this was in corn, and we're going to put it back into corn again last year, and being that the weather was so terrible for growing corn, we decided to put it back in the permanent pasture. Anyhow, friends, I know we've been talking a lot about equipment and building things lately on the channel, and that's going to probably change here. It's not going to be long. We're going to be back out grazing, doing what we love to do. It's just kind of a slack period, or a time that we can get caught up on a lot of the other projects that we need to do on the farm. And I promise that we're going to be back out grazing, and we're going to do a lot more grazing videos here soon. Looking at the calendar, 35 days of this stuff left yet, and we can usually get the cows back out on the pasture fields grazing fresh grass, usually approximately April 1st. Sometimes sooner, maybe a little bit later. It just depends on how the spring goes, but so far it looks like we're going to be out probably before April 1st grazing. The plants have shown a lot of growth here throughout the winter time, and it looks like they're gonna, whenever they wake up, they're gonna go gangbusters. We're gonna get lots of grass. You can see here's some orchard grass, a lot of green growth in there. Clovers are waking up. We really haven't had a winter, so I expect whenever things wake up in the spring here, we're gonna have plenty of grass, and we're gonna be able to get back to the grazing videos and livestock. But until then, we're gonna have to do some of these videos. I talk a lot about trying to reduce the needs for the equipment on the farm, but sometimes it's necessary. As far as the mules go, I'm not sure how I could red a half and a haul, a weekly load of manure. It's not really a big deal. There's 4 of us. We get together and each grab a pitchfork. It only takes about 10 minutes to load that up, so it's not a big deal. Okay, friends, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like it. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.